Wan'dale Robinson, wide receiver for the New York Giants. I like him this week, and I'm going to tell you why. He is currently the only healthy wide receiver on the New York Jets, along with Darius Slayton. And that's a plus. He's easing back from injury. Last week, he only had a 23% snap share, and that's not a lot. It's not. They're clearly easing him back into the fold. But what's also very uncommon is somebody with a 23% snap share seeing 4 targets. Seems pretty good to me. One of them was an end zone target, which he converted into a touchdown, which in turn he turned into a nice fantasy day. Okay? He welcomes in a Jacksonville defense that we alluded to earlier. Is middle of the road, very explosible through the air. A lot of weak corners out there, which I think Wan'Dale Robinson can fit right in and find some cozy targets. And also, you just kind of have to think, the New York Giants, they're not a bad team. They're a good team. It's time we start saying they are. And Wan'Dale Robinson is only going to make the team better. He is the player that the team drafted. You hear all these problems right now, like with Kadarius Toney and what's going on with him. He's a possible trade candidate right now because that's not who the current regime picked. He's giving them fits and toughs. And Wan'Dale Robinson is a player that this team drafted to do a very particular job. And I think he's doing it. Even if his snap share goes up to 45% this week and he sees 6 targets, I think he's explosive. I think he's shifty. I think he could do something special. His sleeper projection right now is currently 7 fantasy points, but here our baseline is always 12. So I think he definitely finds some fantasy success this week, and he's right above that 12-point threshold, making him a fine flex play in your lineup. And I always like to kind of give some players who I think, obviously when I'm sitting down and I'm thinking about these guys, Darnell Mooney. I like Wan'Dale Robinson over Darnell Mooney this week. I like him over my Fool's Gold player this week, Chris Olave. That's how confident I am. I like him over Jerry Jeudy. You just alluded to a Fool's Gold player in Cortland Sutton. We didn't even plan that, by the way. And I also like him over a guy like Drake London, who goes against Chicago or Cincinnati this week, who's been pretty stingy of late, and a team that only throws the ball 14 times a game. So, Jacob, any thoughts about the man, the rookie, Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah, man. I mean, I like him. He didn't have an amazing game last week, but he showed some promise. I mean, no Giants wide receiver since Sterling Shepard went down has shown any promise there this year as far as being fantasy relevant, which is crazy because, a lot of times when you have these teams like the Chiefs and the Rams a few years ago, it's like great teams usually equal great fantasy players. Not necessarily with the New York Giants other than Saquon Barkley, right?
Yeah,
so
much.
We're finally starting to see like Bellinger and Wan'Dale emerge, and it's like, okay, these are the guys that we can kind of depend on out of nowhere, but hey, that I'll take it. And I'm honestly, I have a little bit of FOMO with Wan'Dale Robinson. I don't have him in any dynasty leagues. I don't like in a redraft league, it's whatever. Like, it depends if you have room for him, but like, he's got a little bit of FOMO, not gonna lie.
Hey, well, I have plenty of shares of him, so he's all yours if you want him. But with that being said, I like how you talked about it. The good teams have fantasy success. The Giants are a good team, and these guys are starting to emerge. I think Wan'Dale Robinson emerges this week, and maybe he's here to stay. I don't know, but he's certainly a fine play this week, which is why he finds himself as my dark horse for week 7 of the fantasy football season.